riffs are too repetitive, the lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides and the cover art's a mess. There's so much here to tear apart. Listen to it for a week, now that week has passed. It's Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Garrett.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Why I Hate This Album. I am one of your hosts, Garrett Harvey. With me as always, co-host extraordinaire, Steve Wiebe to my Billy Mitchell, Timothy Richardson. Tim, how you doing?
It has been a busy week. It has been, well, you can tell, first of all, I'm very sick, and it has also been filled to the brim with both engineering and business failure.
So a pretty standard week. Excuse me, though, I am going to pause. The engineering failure concerns me. Elaborate.
Oh, okay. The Killdozer project that you commissioned is way over budget. It is going to have to be shelved until at least August 2023. I know how much you were looking forward to killdozing, and I am truly sorry.
What ran us so over budget?
We're having a hard time when the intern that's driving it, for him to be able to see, we have to have some sort of opening. And the intern that's playing the police officer keeps just putting his hand in there and firing a handgun.
Oh,
the bullets just bounce all around the inside of that. It's bulletproof from both directions. I think that's maybe the problem.
Yeah. Well, I don't think you can make it bulletproof from the outside and not bulletproof from the inside. Tim, what business failure would you like to elaborate on for us?
Well, so as you know, New York City, the Big Apple, is quite a bit colder than Austin, Texas.
I've noticed.
This year I've been wearing sweatpants far more often. Now, this gave me what I thought at the time was a great idea. Because I look around, I see women, they seem very cold, colder than me even. Sweatpants, panties, sweat panties, right? Women's panties made of sweatpant material to keep them warm in the winter.
I hate to hear you say the word panties.
Oh yeah, me too. But the problem is, due to some admittedly unclear marketing copy, we have had nothing but just perverts buying these things. They're complaining. They're giving us 1-star reviews once they realize that we are not selling used sweaty panties.
Well, okay, stay with me. Open mind. What if you pivot? It seems like there's a huge demand for sweaty panties.
Interesting. Well, I don't know any women, so I guess I could wear them. I would be very sweaty.
I did not say that you needed women. Tim, quite frankly, if somebody wants to pay top dollar for me to sweat in a pair of underpants, I'm going to put it out there right now. hatepodmail@gmail.com. Let's talk, because frankly, as much as I sweat, it's use it and lose it, my friend. It's a one-use situation. I might as well make a little money off them.
Yeah, I'm in for this idea.
Excellent.
Turning the week around.
Well, when in doubt, Tim, pivot. All right, well, failed business and engineering ventures aside, sweat panties. So nobody else on the market of sweat panties.
I did not look.
Oh, got distracted when you started ordering so many pairs of sweaty panties. All right, Timmy, that aside, I'm curious to share with you, the listener, what song have we been listening to for an entire week straight?
Well, because every once in a blue moon, we deserve a little bit of Spooksember joy. This week, we are talking about the incredibly odd 1982 song Safety Dance by Men Without Hats.
Before I ask the all too important question, I do want to point out we remain firmly not in a Spooksember situation. That is unsanctioned, and I do not acknowledge it.
I think I've got the audience on my side. Spooksember, let us know.
God damn
Would you like a Spook January? That one doesn't really work.
Spookuary? Moving along, Tim, after an entire week with the Men Without Hats and their Safety Dance, I have to ask, and you better be careful, do you hate this song?
Spapril. Goodness no, Garrett. This one is pretty fun. It's weird enough to be mildly entertaining. It's pretty harmless. This is fine. Got no problem with this.
You got me with Spapril. That's so stupid.
What about
I'm sorry, did you say it's fine?
Yeah.
Okay.
What about you, friend? Do you hate this song?
Oh, heck no. I love it, Tim. I love it even more than at the start of the week. I am 7 days into a love affair with this song, and I don't think it'll ever stop. I love it. I mean, I don't know how else to say it.
You know what? This is good, because with this love affair, this never-ending love affair, you can get real sweaty. Collect that sweat, put it in some panties.
Yeah, I guess you don't even have to wear them, right? I could just sweat and pour it on the panties.
We'll empty out all the many milk jugs we have for a different project. I'll get to that next week probably. We'll fill those with your sweat, and then just as they come in, we'll just douse them in sweat and pop them in the panties.
God damn it. Listeners, write in, hatepodmail@gmail.com. Do you want panties soaked in my sweat? We'll send them to you.
Hot ladies sweat, to be clear.
Sure. If it smells like balls, I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway.
Hot lady balls.
This is going to be a weird one, guys. Now, Tim, you said this song is fine. When you said that, I'm curious, did you mean it's great?
Well, I mean, it's acceptable to me. I don't think I have the love for it that you do.
Okay.
I will not be sweating nearly as much as you this week.
Doubt it, but I am going to get pretty sweaty. You don't hate it. I don't hate it. I love it. I fucking love it. How dare you not love it? Well, we'll get there. I'm going to get you to love.
Ooh, I like that. That sounds
that's new.
Erotic.
Yeah, it's going to be. Tim, prior to this week, I am curious. What is your history with this song and this band? Have you ever seen Men Without Hats and their safety dance before?
Oh, I've definitely seen this song. I've heard this song, as have we all. I'm not 100% sure I've ever heard any of their other material. And here's the thing, Garrett. This might be part of the problem. As a man with stupid Bobby Hill hair, I am a proud hat wearer. That might be the disconnect.
That's true. Good point.
Yeah. What about you, friend, though? You love dancing dangerously. Is this week the first time you have danced safely?
Well, you know what? I would argue that this song is more about the safety to dance dangerously.
Fair
and from
point.
that regard, I'm doing great.
It also might be about an abduction, but we'll get there.
Of course. Prior to this week, Tim, of course I've heard this song. Can't say I've heard anything else by Men Without Hats. I'm well acquainted with the music video, and I love it. That's your history. That's my history. Before we can talk about the song itself, and goddamn it, I'm super curious, take us on a journey, Tim. Help us understand, who are these men? Where did their hats go? And how did this song come to be?
Well, the main hatless man is Ivan Doroshuk, who was born in 1957 in Illinois, but is very Canadian. At the time of his birth, his Ukrainian father was getting a PhD at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, and then he moved the family to Montreal, where he got a job teaching at the Université de Montréal. Now, not content to work at what she considered a subpar institution, his mother, Betty, also sometimes known as Bethesda and Belinda, got a job teaching classical voice at McGill University, the Harvard of Canada, in the Faculty of Music. Now, because of this, Ivy and his brothers Stefan and Colin grew up as weird French, Ukrainian, Canadian, classically trained Montrealian musicians. Ivy was in a band called Wave 21 in high school, although he did briefly consider becoming a French lawyer, studying in the south of France, as one does, for a year in 1976 to 1977. Ivy returned to Montreal and formed Men Without Hats as a punk band in 1977. In 1980, Ivy restarted Men Without Hats as a synthesizer-based electronic-y new wave group in sort of the style of a Gary Newman, kind of something like that. The name actually came from the Doroshuk brothers' refusal to wear hats in the Montreal winter, leading to presumably the illness I currently have. Ivy's two brothers were in the band with him, and they are off and on for a bit. They released the 1980 EP Folk of the 80s, followed by repeated lineup changes, a trend which is going to be so prevalent that I'm pretty much not going to comment on it very much from here on out. In 1982, they released Rhythm of Youth, featuring the illustrious Song of the Week. In 1984, they released Folk of the 80s Part 3. As far as I can tell, there is no Folk of the 80s Part 2. So I think maybe they were trying to trick the Soviets into thinking that they had more albums than they really did, kind of like SEAL Team 6, you know?
Right.
Anyway.
Inflatable albums, etc.
Right. Yeah, that album featured the alluringly titled Where Do the Boys Go?
That's not alluringly titled at all. And please don't ever say that again.
Grossly titled. In 1985, they released the EP Freeways with multiple language versions of the 1980 song Freeways. In 1987, they released Pop Goes the World, and in 1989 released The Adventures of Men and Women Without Hate in the 21st Century. Okay. In 1991, they released a more electric guitar-y album Sideways in an effort to compete, unwisely, with Nirvana. Ivan said,
What?
We had a contractual obligation for one more album with Polygram, so I said to them, we'll take half of the allotted budget if they would allow us to do the record I wanted. So we did this guitar-oriented record, but Polygram was horrified.
Wow, can you imagine being the executive of Polygram being like, all right, who do we have in the stable? Well, we still have Men Without Hats under contract. It's 1991.
Yeah.
They're alive?
Well, as a man who had to deal with Neil Young while pretending to be David Geffen in the mid-'80s, I can understand exactly what it would be like.
Well, sure.
Yes. They stopped being a band in 93 after not being able to get an American label to pick them up after this disastrous monstrosity. In 1993, Ivy and the keyboardist recorded a never-released concept album titled UFOs Are Real. Ivy would also release a solo album called The The Spell in 1997, and previous keyboardist Alan McCarthy, who did all of the keyboard work on the Song of the Week, died of complications of AIDS. That was a Gino edition. I apologize to everyone.
Thanks for that, Gino.
Yeah.
No, it's not a fun fact.
A couple of the other guys made country music. That is a fun fact.
That is.
In 2003, Men Without Hats released No Hats Beyond This Point, a return to the new wavy sound. Then they split up again in 2004. Colin Doroshuk, Ivy's brother, released an opera and classical music, including a fully produced opera, Evangeline, based on the poem by one of Garrett's favorites, Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, which he also conducted.
Garrett Harvey fun fact, for 2 years, won't tell you which, I exclusively only answered to the name Wadsworth.
Yes, you are a very fancy boy.
Oh, it was because I was a big fan of Clue and Tim Curry.
Interesting. In 2006, an unauthorized DVD called Live Hats was released, but then immediately pulled back. In 2010, the band reformed again with Ivy auditioning and hiring a bunch of backup musicians. The other previous members referred to it as a tribute band, but they did do well at a 2011 South by Southwest show that we actually went to while I was partially still crippled.
Oh, yeah!
So I guess we have heard some of their other music.
That's so weird.
Yeah. In 2012, they released Love in the Age of War, stylistically and conceptually a follow-up to Rhythm of Youth. In 2020, Ivy said he was working on a new EP and album called Again Parts 1 and 2. These were released in 2021 and 2022. Again Part 1, the EP, also features a ballad of the Song of the Week, now called No Friends of Mine, and they are touring again as of June 2021. Le Fez.
And a hearty Shalaby to you. Wow. That history extended at least 30 years beyond what I thought it would.
Yeah, I assumed that the rest of them succumbed to some sort of horrible illness as well.
Not what I was going to say, just that they stopped making music.
I don't wish it upon them, but I assumed it.
Well, you always do. So, Tim, somewhat lacking from your history is what I'll call a fun fact about this very song that I was not aware of until we got into this week.
What's that?
There's 2 versions of this song.
Well, I didn't want to spoil it.
Actually, there's 3 now. But now, folks, brace yourselves. Hold on to your butts, in the great words of Samuel L. Jackson. The original version of this song, nobody liked it. Didn't do well. Nobody wanted it. The remix, the dance version, the one you and I all know, came out, like a year later, half a year later, and it's the only version that was ever released in the United States. That's why we all here in the US of A know the great version with all the great synth. But the original version, kind of boring.
Yeah. So David Bowie-y, but the bad Bowie. He does kids. There's bad Bowie.
There is bad Bowie. It's not that hard.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anyway, shocking revelations aside, I guess we should probably give everyone a taste, just in case they have no idea what we're talking about. Although if you've never heard this song, I suspect you're not really a person and possibly some sort of android. So here we go. The safety dance, Men Without Hats. Load it up, Jaina.
We can dance if we want to. We can leave your friends behind.
Love it. Now, Garrett, let's hear some of that Apologetics parody version, Tasty Plants.
What? That can't be true.
Eat some plants if you want to, with your vegan friends online. Cause your friends pose as a carnivorous rants, well then don't censor mine. I say, we can go where we want to, the places they will never dine. And if we like stuff that comes from cows and fish, birds, even pigs, God knows in mine.
Here's my theory. I think it's about how when Jesus came, Jews were then allowed to eat, Jews that accepted the truth that is Jesus Christ, of course. I believe Christians, and this is true, called them completed Jews. That's horrifically offensive. Anyway,
I'm so upset by everything you're saying.
Once you accept the true word of Jesus Christ, you can eat pork again. I'm pretty sure that's the deal.
Wow. But until you do, it's plants for you.
Yeah, well, plants is a stand-in for not pork, the most delicious of all meats.
Okay, not to get too much of a tangent here, but you said it, so now we have to. One meat for the rest of your life. You're not picking pork.
No. Honestly, it's super boring. I would probably go chicken.
That's the smartest.
Yeah, well, because I just think you'd get super tired of steak. It seems like that's the way to go, but I don't think so. I just don't.
No. Well, because if you pick, especially depending on what kind of genie or cursed demon you're dealing with that's exclusively making you only eat one meat, you could just say poultry, right?
That's true.
That's one type of meat.
Here's what we do. We each make a wish. We get what we want. We wish for different meats, and then we just share.
Oh my God, what a stupid fucking genie. Okay, back to the song, Tim. Is this a sexy song?
I don't think so. I think it's an ominous song. I think it is a sinister song. All of those things.
Fair enough. Were you at all surprised, or did you pick up on the, I'll say, German sensibility of the style? I was somewhat shocked that they were Canadian boys.
Well, sure. I mean, but all new wave is influenced by the great Schreckliches Bauhaus, or whatever the fuck it was.
Right. It's definitely not what you said.
Schnabel by Bauhaus.
Hammenschnabel. Bela Lugosi's dead?
Not that song in particular. I mean the original German art school.
Oh, I see. Right.
I think
Nazis
everyone
aside.
should be influenced by Germans. I'm just going to throw that out there. Everyone's life would be improved, with the exception of Germans, were they 10% more German.
You know who might be the exception there is Kanye West. He's gone too German.
Well, sure. I said 10%. He's gone way more than 10%.
Well, you said all people could have their lives improved by increasing their Germanhood by 10%. I'm saying he's peaked. He cannot have 10% added.
100% agree.
German OD arguably already has. Anyway, back to something more pleasant. Is there anything you want to say about this song before we get into the lyrics itself?
No, I mean, I think that it is, like, when I think of, like, synth pop new wave, this is, like, one of 6 things I think of. This is definitional to me. This, like, Devo, I'm sure I know others, didn't write them down.
Nah, why would you? It's just a show about music. Yeah, super new wavy, definitely one-hit wonder. I've loved this song my whole life, and now learning more about it as an adult, I love it even more. I had an ulterior motive for this week. There are words in this song, Tim, that I have always wondered about. And so when we were picking the next single, I suggested this pretty much solely to earnestly try to figure out what in the world this song is about. And should we say up top what it's actually supposed to be about?
Well, we should say his post hoc claim of what it's about, but yes.
That's well put. Yeah. So it is supposed to be, as I understand it, that when he says it's safe to dance and the safety dance, he or some of his compatriots were kicked out of a local club for pogoing or slam dancing, as it would later be known as, or possibly evolve to. But basically it's hopping up and down with your mates to early punk, or in this case, possibly new wave, though that seems weird, and, you know, kind of bouncing into each other. And the clubs were like, you're not doing that, you crazy rapscallions, and they kicked him out.
Right, and Ivy considers this song a protest and call for freedom of expression. He also made clear,
safe to dance.
In 2003, he said it is not a call for safe sex, and it is not an anti-nuclear protest song. So what we can glean from that is, he believes possibly this is about dancing. He might be covering up what it's really about by saying it's about dancing. He is pro-dangerous sex, allegedly, and not allegedly pro-nuclear proliferation.
I mean, when you say it like that, I think I might be pro-dangerous sex.
Well, you're into slam dance sex, yes.
I don't know why that tickled me so much.
If you can't start across the room from somebody and then run and slam and end up inside of someone,
you're doing it wrong.
I disagree. I'm just going to say right here, I'm out.
Full force, fast as you can.
Never go full force. Never.
No, never.
Ever go full force.
Never. You know how easy it is to break a penis?
Yeah. Think about how strong your hips are.
Damn you. You have provided so much more context to our weightlifting days and what you focus on that okay, let's cleanse the palate with a little bit of this song. Tim, I'm going to kick us off with what is arguably one of the greatest songs of the year that this song came out, which I don't remember now. It begins with S S S S A A A A F F F F E E E E T T. Why? Safety, dance.
He kind of saves it with the safety dance part at the end, but again, it kind of irks me right up top.
Oh, I love it. It's the best spelling there is.
Bananas. This shit is bananas.
It is the second best spelling that I am aware of. Boy,
fair enough.
You are on the ball today. I love the echo. I love the weird. It feels so German. And Bowie, it definitely has a S-S-S-S-A-A-A. Anyway, I won't do it again.
Oh, yeah,
I love
like
it.
These guys, you can tell just by this intro, into weird sex. It's not
weird by whose definition?
Like bad or dangerous necessarily. It's just unusual.
Unconventional.
Yes.
Let's see. Then we get the trademark keyboard synth tune that is basically your notification to turn this fucker up. I mean, you love that, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I'm
okay, fantastic. Then the claps get turned up and it's time to party. We open with, and because it is the remix, folks, he sings this, or really just kind of speaks it, before we get to the real singing of the song. But he says, we can dance if we want to. We can leave your friends behind, because your friends don't dance. And if they don't dance, well, they're no friends of mine.
Here's what's happening here.
What are you picturing? Yeah, what's going on here?
I'm picturing a guy who's noticing a girl who's a little bit drunker than her friends.
Oh, shit. Get out of my notes.
He has convinced her that she is the fun one, he is the fun one, her friends are a drag, and she should move to a second location with him.
Oh, God damn it. I mean, yeah. That's what my notes say. I have nothing to add. Let's keep going. I say, we can go where we want to, a place where they will never find, and we can act like we come from out of this world, leave the real one far behind, and we can dance. All her friends are asking her not to go with this random douchebag to a secondary location. As Tim said, he seems weird and immediately sought to separate her from her friends and safety.
Here's the
problem. And then when he gets her alone, I think he wants to get her on drugs.
Here's the problem. He's in Urbana-Champaign, and he's just a little bit German, and that's unsettling. Right? It's a place
just a little German.
Saying, there's nothing wrong with being German. Just keep that where German should be. Nobody wants unsolicited German. And I say this as a German.
Yeah, Tim is a German.
We should probably
say a full-blood German, but you're not. You're a half German.
We should bleep all of this.
Some of it for sure. At best, Tim, I kind of get some weird Peter Pan vibes out of the whole thing. Like, come play with me.
Oh, way worse. Way worse.
That poor Wendy character, shanghaied to a magical island and not allowed to leave.
Yeah.
Tragic. Then we get the synth hook again, which I won't repeat. And then finally, we get the synth music that actually plays through the entire original song, the bum 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 ba 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 bum bum. That sounds like a Renaissance fair. More on that in a bit. Then there's another round of the first two verses that we just read. This time he is full on singing because basically this is the original song. The other parts, the boop 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 boop, that was all part of the remix. Now we're into the real song. That's why you have the original synth. And the first two verses are ended with my favorite part, danser, or possibly danser, which is Romanian for dance, but I'm pretty sure it's French for to dance. Danser.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't speak either. Anyway, song continues. We can go when we want to. The night is young and so am I. And we can dress real neat from our hats to our feet and surprise them all with a victory cry.
This is troubling. This is an older man convincing a lady or possibly a boy that he's just as young as them. You're just a little drunk. That's why I look so much older than all of your friends.
Oh my God.
Nothing illegal. He's just, it's like a Garrett Tim, May December sort of thing.
I don't sign off on anything you just said.
Anyway, fair enough. But here's the real part. We can dress real neat from our hats to our feet. These are hatless men. He's wearing a hat.
I wasn't understanding that. So it's definitely not about them.
Nope.
Or
he's in disguise.
Okay. You took my or. You want to do a solo cast? You want to just do the episode? I'll just shut the fuck up because it's all about a disguise. The notes I have say, this guy's saying, hey, let's get out of here, go get real fucked up, put on some costumes, come back here and rob your friends, all while we dance.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, no one will notice.
Surprise them with the victory cry is, putting a snub nose in their face and taking their purses.
Ugh, dark.
Say, we can act if we want to. If we don't, nobody will. And you can act real rude and totally removed, and I can act like an imbecile. Don't feel bad about pistol whipping your friends. You're young. It's your job to make poor decisions. And keep in mind, you're just acting. We're in disguise. Keep dancing.
I've always thought that if you are wearing a hat that you don't normally wear and a mustache, a fake mustache, you're allowed to hit one person. Assuming you can get away with it. But
the Constitution.
If they then track you down, they're not allowed to do anything.
Ooh, Gino, check the Constitution. I don't know if that's in there. At this point, Tim, I'm getting real Alfred Molina in Boogie Nights vibes.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
No, it's not. the little kid and the...
Oh, I'm well aware.
And the firecrackers and the motoring. Yeah, that scene is very, very scared. So maybe this person did go with this much older man. Still nice and legal, but still quite an age difference. They've gone, they put on the costumes, they came back, they robbed their friends. But all the while, this man insists that they must keep dancing.
Well, sure. Perhaps he's got some sort of choreiform movements. Perhaps he's got hemiballismus. He's got some sort of subthalamic nucleus damage, and he can't stop dancing. And people are definitely going to be able to tell it was him if she's not also dancing, because they're not going to blend in. He's just going to be dancing. I don't know
if it's completely out of line or like really appropriate that you're calling that dancing.
It's choreiform dance movements. That's how the greats described it, Garrett. Dr. Huntington himself.
Okay.
Possibly his contemporaries. I don't know.
Tough to say. Either way, I don't think they meant dance. Song continues. I say, we can dance. We can dance. Everything's out of control. We can dance. We can dance. They're doing it from pole to pole. Is this man trying to take over the world through dance?
I think he's trying to take over people's wallets one at a time.
Okay. Or just their lives, their evenings.
Sure. Yeah.
Some sort of one-on-one terrorist.
Oh, I like that. That's nice and legal.
Ooh, it isn't.
Terrorizing one
Check the
person.
Constitution, Gino. Put it on the whiteboard.
All right.
One-on-one terrorism. Is that in there?
I bet it's not. If it's not, it's legal, right?
I believe that's how it works.
All right.
Song continues. We can dance. We can dance. Everybody look at your hands. We can dance. We can dance. Everybody's taking the chance. Oh, well, the safety dance. Ah, yes, the safety dance. Now, Tim, the entire reason I picked this song was to try to understand why... why he says, everybody look at your hands, though I remain baffled.
Okay, I can give you a possibility that resides exclusively within the story we're telling.
Okay, well, I think we've nailed it so far, so we'll call it canon.
He's drugged everyone.
That's what I wrote down. Perhaps he's drugged everyone. Now, alternate theory. Maybe we're finally getting some lines from the mugging. Everybody look at your hands. I don't want to see anyone look at this face. Look at your hands. Hey, hero, look at your hands.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so everybody's face down. They got their hands on the ground, purses and wallets in a big pile there. Everybody look at your hands.
I'm going to say this. You really know how to, I'm going to say this the nicest way possible, control a situation. Control a room.
Thank you. Yeah, I like the eyes of an entire room on me at my behest.
Yes, I like that
Coincidentally, if it's not at my behest, please don't look at me.
Yeah, Garrett does not like eyes on him. I
don't.
For the most part. And I think that might be because he's trying to blend in, but he doesn't have Tim's superpowers.
God, that is your superpower. Did you see him? He came by. He's about 5'9", brown hair, brown eye. No? Okay.
I think a ghost strangled this lady right in front of me.
At times I thought I saw a man, but then no. At other times I thought it was a giant thumb, so, you know,
well,
I can't remember that. What?
That's rude.
I'm sorry. Look like a thumb.
Yeah, I do.
You have a great smile, though.
Oh, thank you. A thumb smile,
You're welcome.
though. It's right in the middle of a thumb. It looks horrible.
It's actually kind of creepy because you're just like thumb, thumb, thumb. Oh, great smile, thumb. Anyway, then we get SSSSAAAAFF. You've heard the rest. Only this time it's sung by the woman who says danser. And then we move about to we can dance if we want to. We've got all your life and mine. As long as we abuse it, never gonna lose it. Everything will work out right. Roundabout way of asking if she's ready to die for the cause because he is ready to take her life.
Agree completely. Maybe this is, it's German, right? So maybe this is about those, the Bader Meinhof gang.
Oh, I never watched that movie because it was long.
I never did either, but I have a cousin who was there.
How there?
There.
Oh my. Oh my. Oh my. Wow. Song continues. Ah, yes, the safety dance. Oh, well, the safety dance. Oh, well, the safety dance. Ah, yes, the safety dance, etc., etc. This is the outro, of course. Now, there is a lot of, like, yipping in there.
Yes.
So instead of it just being what I just did, it's more the safety dance. You're talking the safety dance. So there's a lot of those going on, which is unusual, but I'm into it. And that kind of takes us out, Tim. Any other notes before we move into this very curious music video?
God, no.
All right, let's dive straight in. I'm going to give us the fly through. You just interrupt me where you see fit if I miss a thing.
Okay.
This baby is jam-packed with weird. We open on two men in a field dressed like medieval peasants, and the lead singer is one of the people, and the other is a little person, and he is dressed like a jester holding a ukulele.
Yes, and has some sort of band shirt on.
Yeah, though that's not entirely revealed till later on in the video. But yes, he is wearing a band shirt for the first album that this song is contained on. The lead singer has a very large and angular face that I found quite alarming and very German, giving me Crispin Glover vibes.
Yes, but with a stronger chin.
Much stronger. Like you couldn't maybe push him.
Like he could do some real damage with a single bite.
Well said. They appear to be headed into a town for some sort of festival or dance. Along the way, they meet a lovely woman in the road. She is the woman who says, danser. She joins them on their voyage into town. What was great about my version, Tim, it was the first version I watched, terribly dubbed. So it took me a very long time to realize that they were singing the words to the song and not, in fact, just having a completely separate discussion that had nothing to do with what was going on.
Delightful.
Yeah, I had to restart it, and I was like, oh, they're singing. That makes way more sense. The three dance into town, and we see townspeople that look oddly Dutch standing in their doorway and greeting / threatening the travelers.
This is what the Dutch looked like.
They used to.
Oh, okay.
And the very old Dutch do still.
Okay.
They're adorable. They arrive at the gate of the, I don't know, castle or inner walls, we'll say.
It's like the town walls, yeah.
Okay. And this creepo turns around and just starts singing at the camera before he and his lady start doing something that I'm going to dedicate a lot of time to.
Sure, but those eyes are sultry.
Terrifying. I found them terrifying.
Yeah.
I don't think you know what sultry means. So, after the two kind of dance ever so provocatively at the camera, they begin doing something that it took me a long time to figure out, and I'm a little embarrassed by. I'm going to try to describe it for the listener at home, and if you didn't watch the music video, you're only hurting yourself, but maybe you're in the car, so let me do you a favor. Picture your arms like they're folded across you, but just so that your right arm is facing left and your left arm is facing right. Now, create a big gap between those, and basically like you're flexing with the left arm up, and then you're flexing with the right arm down, but they're at the same position, forming an S. And that is what these two start to do aggressively at, well, everyone. This was my favorite part of the music video, Tim. That S move is now in my fight repertoire.
Let me stop you right there. There's two of them. They're
What?
in the Dutch. They're each making an S sign. There's two
Okay.
people standing next to each other making an
shit.
SS sign
Oh, no.
at the Dutch.
Oh, run, Dutch. Run. Yikes. God, you're right. That has to be an accident. Anyway, then a cavalcade of dancing Dutchmen begin dance marching down the street. They, of course, the gentleman with the terrifying jawline and his lady friend join the merry bunch, and they all start doing the move together as they continue marching towards the town square. It's an aggressive thrust of the arms. Really look it up, people.
Yeah.
It's alarming.
They were an aggressive people back then, the Germans.
And again, he's Canadian and slightly Ukrainian. We arrive at a small hay-filled area that looks vaguely like a Renaissance fair. There's a maypole and people dancing about. A couple of the people are suspiciously wearing chicken masks, and it is neither explained nor appropriate.
I assume it's some sort of Wicker Man scenario.
Oh, God. So is he going to be sacrificed and he doesn't realize it? He
I
thinks
assume
it's...
the lady.
Oh, maybe she lured him in.
Maybe. We'll have to
It
keep
was sort of a
watching
Marco
to find
Polo thing.
out.
He screamed safety dance. She screamed danse. He just followed her into a giant wicker man that she set ablaze.
She just has him dance into it.
That's right. Good stuff. Then let's see. Everyone is dancing. The little person is still there. Now you can see that he does have the Men Without Hats t-shirt on under his costume. The lead singer wanders about a bit singing, and it seems like the whole party is kind of ignoring him, to be honest. Then we see some jesters, a puppet show, and then the video kind of peters out before we get a few photos that I was unable to determine what they meant.
Oh, okay. So, couple things you missed. A man paddles that dwarf. Little person? Dwarf. Problem number
Little
one.
person.
Did you ever figure out who the blonde lady was?
No.
She was unidentified until 2013 when somebody figured out she was Louise Court, who, after this video came out, would go on to become editor-in-chief of Cosmopolitan. So arguably, she had a better career than any of these hatless men.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure she made, well, I don't know. This song has been out and it's been really
in a
popular.
lot of stuff, yeah. I think those flashes, they look like they're planes firing rockets. The internet seems to believe it's scenes of a nuclear war.
Oh.
Which I guess is why he had to clarify that this was not anti-nuclear proliferation. He is pro.
Wow. That almost just confuses me more, but rather than dwell on it at all, this is all about having a good time for once here on this show. So I'll ask you, Tim, how did this thing do?
This did pretty well. It was #1 on the US Cashbox and US Billboard Hot Dance Club playlists, and it was a #1 single on the South African Springbok radio chart. Hit #5 in Australia, #7 on the U3 Austria Top 40, #10 on the Belgian Ultra Top 50 Flanders, #11 in Canada, #64 in France, #3 in Ireland, #2 in New Zealand, #3 in Norway, #3 on the Swedish Sverigetoplisten, #4 on the Swiss Schweizer Hit Parade, #6 in the UK, #2 in West Germany, very specifically, and of course, #23 in the Dutch.
Still waiting on those numbers from East Germany. What number with the Dutch, I'm sorry?
23.
Ouch. Yeah, I would have thought this was made Taylor for them.
Well, he does threaten the Dutch with those SS symbols.
That's true.
Might have been
Smart
banned in
move,
the Dutch.
They were probably like, oh, this is great. Oh, no.
I remember this.
Fool me once.
So the Dutch.
Okay.
So okay, that was just actually a bluff. The Dutch were involved with Nazis in some way.
I'm not going to in any way help to expose you to the Dutch.
Okay. What about the Nazis?
I don't.
God, no, don't. Okay, we're bleeping that.
You can bleep all you want, fuckface. There's, what, 200 plus episodes of you
alt-right.
That's true. There is a difference.
Yeah.
There is a difference. It's a small difference. A lot of overlap.
My team also is unaware who some of these people are.
Political. Tim, what did people think of it?
Well, Garrett, for once in a very long time, we have a Robert Christgau review. So we can play the Robert Christgau jingle created by Brett Peterzak. Garrett, if I may remind everyone what the Robert Christgau game is, I read a Robert Christgau review. Garrett tries to guess what grade I give it. The trick is, Robert Christgau is a crazy person whose review may or may not relate to the album, his grade may or may not relate to the review, and we don't know what scale it's going to be on. So, Garrett, are you ready to play the Robert Christgau game?
Lay it on me.
Who are you listening to? Jethro Tull? Somebody asked over the phone, and that's new music for you. What makes it new is how ruthlessly it goes for the one shot, which sometimes means the good song, the safety dance, available as a 12-inch. As for the rest, well, Ivan Doroshuk seems smarter than anyone in A Flock of Seagulls, and Ian Anderson seems smarter than anyone in the Ohio Express. Garrett Harvey, what did Robert Christgau give this album?
He gave this a B-.
C+. Very close.
Ooh,
very
I almost went that way. Feel good about it, though. Feel good about it. I enjoyed the Christgau game. Do we have any reviews worthy of following Mr. Robert Christgau?
We have maybe one. Maybe.
All right.
So we have 157 total ratings on Amazon, 4.7 stars on average, 84% 5-star, 3% 1-star. This first review is by Moral Frailty from 2017. It's called You Can Download If You Want To. Starting off hot.
Frailty.
One of my favorite, fun, upbeat, family-friendly songs of the 80s. The 1980s in general produced a lot of songs that dealt with a lot of emotional and dark topics when it came to music. Many artists in the 80s sang about love/sex, heartache and heartbreak, and love lost. Not too many artists had positive songs about dancing in the genre, in a lighthearted way that Men Without Hats did for the safety dance. There's no sexual undertones about one-night stands, obsession, or revenge/regret. Just plain old dancing and joking about it. SAF, ETY, dance. 5 out of 5 stars from Moral Frailty.
I don't think Moral Frailty actually listened to the song. It's all about obsession and robbery and assault.
Yeah.
Second locations. Yeah. Never go to a second location. Ever.
Fair enough.
Take the bullet.
What reviews do you have for us today?
I have no reviews. That's not how this works. No. You know that, right? I'm
yes.
like the 300th episode.
Sick.
Tim.
I'm so sick.
Oh, Gino, fever check. Tim, who's this for?
Anyone dancing dangerously or preventing someone else from dancing dangerously, or anyone that's maybe just a little cooler than their friends they went to the club with, huh?
It's good list. Good list. Boy, I hope to never go to a club again in my life.
I think you can make that
brings
happen.
Us to, yeah, probably. That brings us to final thoughts. Tim, I'm curious, has my enthusiasm and joy managed to infect your cells? Are you sick with love for this safety dance and these men?
I certainly like it more than we started, but I just want to quote Philip J. Fry, who said, that dance wasn't as safe as they said it was.
Truer words were never spoken, so I'll just make sure for the purposes of shredding and burning it. Tim, after we've been all the way through it, do you hate this song?
Nope, don't hate it. Don't love it. Not quite to love yet, but I do really like it. What about you, friends?
We'll just keep listening until you do. No, of course not. I still love it. I love it slightly more, and I love it more because you don't. I love it just to spite you.
I didn't ruin it just a little bit for you?
Not at all. Honestly, you know what was ruined today by you? And I'm not sure I can be mad at you about this. You took all my jokes.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Oh,
then I am funny.
Alrighty, Tim. Song out of the way. It's about the time of the episode where we read some listener mail. So I'm curious, would you like to go first, or would you like me to?
Well, given that I have 2 short ones and plan on sandwiching yours in between mine, I would like to go first and then last.
You can't just do the thing we agreed to do before we started, can you?
This is by Roddy, and he says, "Hi, Tim, and probably not Garrett. I just wanted to confirm if middle names are enough for you to get into the League of Tims, or if it has to be first names only. What about a legal name change? Best, an aspiring Tim. You can legally change your name, but there is a 2-year waiting period."
Is it sort of like a red shirt situation? Like, are you on probation in the League of Tims, or are you literally just waiting to join?
Same thing with the Cowboys. There's a period at the beginning that's very similar to people waiting on the porch with Fight Club,
where you're challenged as to whether or not you truly want to be a Tim or deserve it.
Right.
And of course, you do shave them head to toe.
All the weird Tim stuff we do, or Cowboy stuff, depending on what we're doing. You could be both, Roddy.
Prospective Tims, I have a front row seat to this maniac. I would say don't do it.
I would say do it. Give it a try. might be brave.
Yeah, you're biased as shit. You're a Tim.
Yeah, well, that's true. I'm a founding Tim. Anyway, Garrett, what email do you have for us?
My email, Tim, is from Tony. Tony's email is titled, Will These Shoes Get Me Into Heaven? He writes, Tim and Garrett, will these shoes pictured below get me into heaven? With the holidays coming up, I thought I would get my loved ones the gift of eternal life. Please let me know if I should order these in bulk. This would be in addition to the pair that I already own and am most likely currently wearing. Now, of course, we are an audio podcast, and yes, of course, some of you are viewers. Find the feed. But most of you are listeners, so you can't see what Tim and I are looking at, so allow me to describe it. Basically, they're slippers, and they're the type of slippers that they're like overstuffed, so your feet just go right on in there through the top, and then they're big and puffy all around it. And then specifically, these slippers look like Tony the Tiger's feet.
I do like how whimsical they are, but I mean, you gotta have laces or boots. There's gotta be some sort of leather on these things, right?
Wow. Interesting. Oh, let me ask you this. Oh, I have so many questions. First, I want to make sure everybody's picturing the right thing. We've all seen them, the big poofy slippers that you put your feet in and it looks like an animal's feet. In this case, a tiger. Now, back to what you just said. If Tony, and I am now wondering if Tony purchased these tiger-themed slippers because his name is Tony, and if so, then certainly not. You're not getting into heaven like that. But that aside, if you were to sew leather soles onto those slippers, would that get him in?
Jesus is a fan of customization. I would have to see him to tell. Tony, sew some leather on those shoes, take another picture, send it back. I'll update you. Really ruin those shoes.
Here's my thinking. I think one person might get in with those slippers. One. Like if you had like sort of a Lebowski vibe.
No, I think it's just whoever's the first to get up there because Jesus loves jokes. And he'll be like, get in here. And then the second guy shows up and he's like, no. Trying to pull a fast one over on me. Absolutely not.
Oh my God, this guy's hilarious. Get in here, guy. The email continues. I was finally able to catch up and listen to the Spawn, the movie, the soundtrack episode. First off, great job. Thank you, Tony. Second, if you guys hated that last song featuring Soul Coughing / Ronnie Size, you would truly detest an album by just Soul Coughing. All of their albums would make a great episode, but I think you would have the most fun with their debut, Ruby Vroom. Already, yikes. How could you not hate a band that earnestly refers to themselves as deep slacker jazz? Thanks for putting out great stuff week after week. La Face, Tony.
I like it, especially that compliment at the end.
Yeah, we really appreciate compliments, real or empty. We can't tell, they're written down. What is your second email of the episode, Tim?
Well, Garrett, this is from Brennan, who says, Hello, Herr Timothy. Was listening to the 2020 mailbag episode because I listened to the catalogs backward and forward over and over again, and you are looking for a name for the listeners, and like a ray from Mouth Sword Jesus, potty heads struck me.
No.
No, I agree, but here's the thing, you did stumble on something. Mouth swords.
Mouth swords.
They can be our mouth swords.
Could you imagine how insane that would be if this show ever became popular?
Oh yeah, I cannot wait to hear Anderson Cooper say it.
Number 4 podcast in the world, WIHTA. They call their listeners mouth swords. They explained it to me twice. I still don't understand it.
They're very clear that they're not saying mouth sores. Anyway, this email continues. How do you feel, or how do you deal with the horrible parasocial relationship you have with thousands of obsessive psychos who worship you as the Aztecs celebrated the blood sacrifice? Love, Captain Major Lazer, Cowboy. I'm fine with it. Like it.
Yeah, I like it.
I don't know if you've ever been worshipped, especially by people who are willing to put a sword in their mouth and fight people for you.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I wonder what the fuck he was talking about.
Maybe he cut his mouth. I don't know.
We are not liable for any mouth injuries due to, Jesusing. Great email, Tim. Really good. Liked it a lot. Not lying at all. That brings us to music news of the weird. Would you like to go first or would you like me to?
Well, Garrett, I, of course, like I do every week, would like for you to go first.
That history would say that's not true, but
listen
sure enough.
to a past episode.
But not several.
Music news of the weird.
All right, I'll kick things off this week with a little bit of Neil Diamond news, the pot smoker himself. Neil Diamond surprised theatergoers at opening night of Broadway's A Beautiful Noise, the Neil Diamond musical at the Broadhurst Theater, where the new musical about his life opened Sunday night, with an impromptu performance of his hit song, Sweet Caroline. It marks the first time Diamond, who is 81, has performed in his hometown since 2017, and was a rare appearance for the music icon, who announced in 2018 that he was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease and would be retiring for concert touring. Gino, come on, man. We said none of this shit. It's the bummer. It's a bummer. I know. I like him too. It's a bummer.
At least highlight it so that he doesn't stumble onto it. Sounds like an asshole.
I could have worked around it. Well, I'm very happy for those people. The weird part to me is, of course, that A Beautiful Noise, the Neil Diamond musical at the Broadhurst Theater. Now, Tim, I hate to tell you this, but you and I had tickets to that very performance.
What?
I know, right? Unfortunately, our tickets were given away to another person.
By whom?
My agent. So my agent had gotten us the tickets, and I went to go pick him up, and he was just like, I don't know who you are. You've never been here before. You're not a client of ours at all. And I was like, what are you talking about? Obviously, we talked about this, went to get him. They'd given him to Jane Krakowski.
Did you have your taser?
No, I had my taxes, my ID, and my birth certificate, and they still wouldn't give them to me. Now, a taser probably would have gotten him out of his hand. He was much smaller than me.
I feel like you probably could have gotten him anyway. Or at least, some sort of consolation prize.
Good God. Tim, what news do you have?
Well, Garrett, in consolation prize news this week, sad story. Our girl, Diane Warren, finally has her Oscar. Kinda. After being nominated for 13 Oscars between 1987 and 2021 and winning exactly 0 of them, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences gave her one for the fun of it this year. Cher presented Dee Dee with the honorary Oscar, saying she was the most prolific writer of my generation, of any generation. She has not heard of Bob Dylan.
Also, prolific does not mean good. We just learned that Men Without Hats have been producing music well into the 2020s. That doesn't mean they're good. It just means they didn't stop. We keep doing this. Doesn't mean we're good at it. We just don't stop.
Yeah, I've waited 43 years to say this, but I'd like to thank the Academy, Warren said. I get to say a speech. I have a lot of acceptance speeches I've written that I've had to crumble up in my pocket. Embarrassing. Dee Dee, this is not how you win one of these things. This is beneath you. And also,
yeah, you should have ghosted the whole thing.
I guess her heart is now full of the love she could never find with a man, so I am free, I guess, to move on with my life.
I disagree.
Sad news.
Perhaps you can use this to neg her into your arms.
Nah.
All right, you're giving up. You heard it here first, folks. After 5 short years, Tim is giving up on his seduction of Diane Warren.
Garrett, what other Diane Warren news do you have? Keeping in mind that if you do not have any Diane Warren news, I have more Diane Warren news.
Please continue with your Diane Warren news.
Oh, no, please, you go first.
I don't have any, you fuck.
Oh, sorry. Well, in bonus Dee Dee Warren news this week, a new musical based on the life of Diane Warren is in development. Obsessed. The story of Diane Warren so far. Featuring all of her many, many hits and several new songs. Remember, she is the most prolific writer of any generation. Now, here's where it gets interesting, Garrett, because she has won Grammys, she has won Oscars, she has now won, an Oscar, and she has a Broadway production on the way. Garrett, she could become an EGOTer and be just as good in history as Andrew Lloyd Webber, John Legend, Marvin Hamlish, Mel Brooks, Audrey Hepburn, and Whoopi Goldberg.
I feel like it's going to have an asterisk.
Oh, I bet they don't. I bet they give it to her.
Yeah, probably.
Garrett.
Yeah, go ahead.
What 2 pieces of Diane Warren news that are separate from mine do you have for us today?
I don't have any. We cleared this up with the last one of these. I swear to God, if you have more Diane Warren news, we're done. Do you?
I can skip it. Should I skip it?
Yes, please.
Okay.
You're going to skip it, and it's going to be my turn now.
Okay.
In Akon should keep his stupid mouth shut and just keep selling headphones news, Akon wants you to know that he supports Kanye West and his right to say really dumb shit. He said, quote, I show support for opinion. And I think people will always have a specific opinion, and the moment we close our minds to other people's opinions, it doesn't allow us to better know each other, better know our mindsets and our movements. Now, people have responded to this by saying, specifically in a Sky News report, the reporter asked Akon whether or not he found Kanye's comments about Hitler alarming. And, Akon said it, quote unquote, troubled him. Then the reporter asked him, did it do more than just trouble you? Do you care about these comments? And Akon said, quote, I want to get this right. Those comments don't really affect me personally. And if it does affect you personally, then, find a way to actually respond in a way to where that conversation can be reciprocated. End quote. So in short, if you're not personally affected by something, then it's probably fine and you don't have to say that it's fucked up at all.
So I don't know how big this guy is, but let's say I met him in the park and let's say I was a different person altogether, a Central Park Strangler, and I just began choking the shit out of him. I'm not going to do this, obviously. This is all hypothetical. I'm just curious.
Right.
Do you think you'd want someone to step in, somebody who I am not currently choking?
Oh, yeah, probably.
Okay.
Probably.
Yeah. So it's hypocrisy, or?
No, he probably wouldn't see it the same way because his logic sucks balls. But listen, if you honestly believe this, and I'm not even sure there was actually a point of view in those quotes, aside from if it doesn't personally affect me, why should I care? If that's your opinion, maybe just don't go on Sky News.
Yeah.
Just like keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
Anyway, what a stupid piece of shit. Tim, what Akon news do you have?
Well, Garrett, in dangerous stage performance involving Akon news this week, Axl Rose made a bit of an oopsie. See, Garrett, Axl likes to hurl the microphone into the crowd as a bit of a fun thrill for the fans, all of them who are not struck in the face by the microphone. This is where the Akon thing comes in, because none of those people do anything about it. But unfortunately, some audience members are, of course, inevitably struck in the face by this tradition, as you'd expect. And on November 29th, Rebecca Howe went to a Guns N' Roses show in Australia, and Axl hit her square in the face with a microphone, giving her 2 black eyes. He has since apologized and vowed to stop doing this. I need to take a moment here. Rebecca, if you are listening, if you are hit, not in both eyes, if you are hit in the face and then get 2 black eyes from that, getting 2 black eyes after getting hit in the face is called periorbital ecchymosis or raccoon eyes, and it can be a sign of a basilar skull fracture or subglial hematoma, especially if you also have bruising behind your ears. Get that checked. That's known as battle sign. Do not blow your nose. Do not cough. Do not strain until you've seen a neurosurgeon. Seriously, this might actually be a problem for you.
Got to imagine that's going to reach her. Also, we are not medical professionals. None of the opinions or facts stated in this show should be taken as a diagnosis.
I recommended that Rebecca Howe of Australia see a goddamn neurosurgeon. Not a doctor. That's good. Not a doctor. That's good. Neurosurgeon.
A neurosurgeon.
You push your way in there. Jesus Christ.
Fair enough.
Anyway, Garrett, do you have more news?
I do, but this one's a really short one, Tim. Just a quick, hot update to an ongoing story that I believe was originally broken here on this show. Jury selection is finally underway for rapper Tory Lanez and his assault trial 2 years after he allegedly shot rapper Megan Thee Stallion in the feet.
Both feet, one bullet.
That's right, the magic bullet. Now, Tim, Lanez has almost no chance of getting out of this as far as I can tell. I think that he's looking at something like legitimate jail time, like a max of 14 years, so probably like 4, but still.
I think he should just let her shoot him in the feet, call it even.
That would be amazing. If that was an option, if all crimes had a eye for an eye statute, I feel like we could really clean out a lot of the clog in the legal system.
Yeah, fuck you, Bible.
I thought that's where that came from.
Oh, fuck you, new part of the Bible. Sorry.
There it is.
Yeah. I'm on the old part side.
Yeah, you love that vengeful God. Anyway, any more news from you, Tim?
Nah.
Then let's end on a super duper high note. Folks, as you're making your summer plans this year, be sure to check the tour calendar because the Goo Goo Dolls are plotting what they call, quote, the Big Night Out Summer Tour. Supporting them will, of course, be OAR. Goo Goo Dolls and OAR will be performing together this summer.
So I bet there's a fair number of crossover fans.
Yeah, probably. Even more interesting, Tim, is they will both be going out on this tour to support their new albums.
Well, that I just don't believe.
Right. It all sounds made up, but OAR has The Arcade and the Goo Goo Dolls has Chaos in Bloom. What I do believe happened, and I'm not even joking, is that OAR and the Goo Goo Dolls were literally recording these garbage albums next to each other and hit it off.
That's why you never hang out with
bros.
OAR.
Yeah. What if we hit it off?
Yeah,
or is it because they're always hanging out with Johnny Riznick or whatever his name is?
Ugh, I don't know. Fuck it.
All right. That wraps up music news of the weird, which means we get to announce next week's album. Tim, what are we going to be listening to for an entire week straight?
Well, due to some very poor scheduling on Gino's part, next week, to make everything fit into December, Spookcember, we are doing one more Prepisode before our Christmas album. This will be Dan Fogelbird's Same Old Lang Syne. This was suggested by Liam Fitzgerald on Instagram, who, as far as I can tell, is a cat.
That would certainly make sense. I'm glad we're getting to announce the single beforehand. If you've made it this far into the episode, and I don't blame you if you didn't, I really want to know, what the fuck is this? When Tim told me to look this up, I was just like, I've never heard of this song. Does anybody know what this is aside from this cat?
I have been assured that it does get spooky.
God damn it. You and the spooky shit. Anyway, that's going to do it for us this week. As always, if you can, rate, review, subscribe, all that stuff. If there's a way to let the software know that you like our show, go do that. 5 stars, write reviews, all good shit. It means the world to us, and it makes a big gosh darn difference. We would love it if this didn't cost us hundreds of dollars per month, but believe it or not, it still does. Hilarious. But the only way we can do that is if you guys say the show is balls awesome, and then we can get some sponsors.
Garrett.
So please.
Notoriously bad businessman.
Yeah, absolutely bad. Terrible. I'm more of a execution guy. Like, I execute the plan.
Right. You got that hunting knife. I've been there.
That's not what I mean. Anyways, you can go to hatepod.com. That's where some of our episodes are. Honestly, not all of them, to be fair. But, you can find our podcast everywhere podcasts are podcasting. So, just go do that. We're on Instagram. That's HatePod. Twitter's Album HatePod. I'm G Harvey Tweets on Twitter. Reach out for as long as Twitter's still a thing before that lunatic goes and sinks the whole goddamn ship. Let's see. We've got subreddits. We've got Discord servers. The Discord server invite is in the Twitter feed. I think it's still a pinned tweet. If not, hit me up. I'll get you the link. It's not hard. You can have a bunch of really weird conversations with other fellow mouth swords. Nah, it doesn't work. It makes me too marbly mouthed. We'll come up with something. What was it originally? Suckers? Soul suckers? Something like that?
Already forgotten.
Fantastic. Alrighty. For Why I Hate This Album, I have been one of your hosts, Garrett Harvey.
I have been Timothy P. Richardson, and on September 21st, 2016, Garrett Safety Harvey said, I have some sort of weird ability to spot colostomy bags.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Gross.
It's the worst.
There's cowboys running through my dreams. Nothing's quite the way it seems. I joined the Navy, got kicked out in a week. My facial features aren't distinct. Try to find some meaning in these songs. The genius is a genius, got it wrong. No, it's a lobster murder sex thing. It's the bleaching of the rear. A full assault on both your ears. The riffs are too repetitive. The lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides. The cover art's a mess. Listen to it for a week. Now that week has passed. It's the Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Gary.